Hey guys, this is Jesse from pentuner.com. Today I have another pen from my personal collection. This is a Noodler's Nib Creeper fountain pen. I got this pen when they were first announced back in 2011, maybe 2012, somewhere around that time frame, when Noodler's came out with their first pens. They sold out very quickly, but I managed to snag one on gouletpens.com, and this has been in my collection ever since. I've had kind of a love-hate relationship with this pen. It is definitely a pen for people who like to tinker. It's not a great writer out of the box. You have to play with it to get it to write well. And if you're the kind of person who likes to do that, if you like to disassemble pens, you like to smooth your own nibs, you like to clean out your pens fully, you're very neurotic about cleaning your pens, perhaps you might like tinkering with the Nib Creeper or perhaps any of the Noodler's pens. So, give you a frame of reference, this is the Nib Creeper. Here it is next to Parker 51 and next to a Namiki or Pilot Falcon. Pretty comparable in size. It's considerably slimmer than the other pens. The length is about the same. The nice thing about the Nib Creeper is that it is a built-in twist piston filler. You twist the knob on the end, which I'm not going to do right now. I have it full of ink, but you twist the knob on the end and it will expel all of the air out. Twist it all the way out, expel all the air. Then you twist it in and the piston inside will move up the barrel and draw ink in with vacuum force. It's a twist cap. Pull the pen out and reveals the nib. Nib Creeper comes with a number 2 ventless nib. I've never tried replacing the nib with anything else. I have considered it, I'm thinking about it, but as of right now, this is the number 2 flex nib that comes with the Nib Creeper. So the Noodler's pens are, I think, renowned for a unique attribute that when you first open the pens, they have a very unique smell. And this pen was no exception. Again, I've had this pen for 4 or 5 years now. And just sitting here like this, I can't smell anything. But if I hold it up and actually get really close and smell it, it's still there, even after 4 years. Some people hate it, some people love it. It doesn't really bother me. I think it's just a unique characteristic of the pen. I don't really understand why the smell exists, but it certainly is there, and it's very unique to Noodler's pens. I think it's a very pretty pen. It has a nice design. It's reminiscent of older vintage pens. It has an ink window here so that you can see what ink you have left in it. I'll uncap the pen here, give us a quick writing sample. This is the flex nib. I'll try and give us a bit of flexing after we just get a basic sample out first. So this is the Noodler's Nib Creeper with the flex number 2 nib. And I have loaded in it today Noodler's, I apologize, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, La Couleur Royale. It's a very nice purple ink. If you glance at it from far away, it kind of looks black. It's a very dark purple, but as you actually look at it and look up close, it's clearly a purple ink. I like this very much. So this is a Noodler's Flex, and you can see some of the issues that I have here. Pen. So part of the problems is railroading, like right here, where if you draw the pen down, you can see that the tines separate, but there's no ink in between. This is called railroading, and because it looks like railroad tracks. This is where the love-hate relationship comes in with this pen. If you're not flexing it, it's a very nice pen. It even writes very wet. I can see the ink glisten on the page. It's a very nice write, even with no pressure at all. It's a very nice writer. But when you start flexing it, you begin to get railroading problems. Like right there. The key to railroading is a combination of setting the feed and nib correctly, and I think also the ink that you're using. You want a very free-flowing ink that will have no trouble supplying the nib of the ink demand. So these Noodler's pens, the Nib Creeper, they're meant to be messed with. And I'm just going to wipe this off right here, but the nib and the feed are pressure fit. So if you just grab them and pull straight out they come. And to get them to feed properly is kind of a game of figuring out where you want to place the nib on the feed and then seat them both in the pen. So I kind of get a gauge there of what kind of looks appropriate. A general gauge is that you want to line up the shoulders of the feed to the shoulders of the nib. That puts it pretty close on this one. I'm going to pull it back just a little bit here. But then you can just pressure fit them back into the pen, and off you go. So in addition to just the pressure fit, you can also do a heat set of the nib. The Nib Creeper uses an ebonite feed, and ebonite is hard rubber, essentially. A lot of pens today are made with plastic feeds. Nathan at Noodler's felt really strongly about including an ebonite feed with his pens. They're much more durable than plastic feeds. They are supposed to supply more ink than plastic feeds, and they're more pliable than plastic feeds. So the idea is, after you set the nib and feed into the pen, there could be some air gap between the nib and the feed itself, right in here. I don't have much of an air gap because I've already done a heat set. But even if there is, even if it's a microscopic gap, a heat set might help. And all a heat set is, you warm up the ebonite feed. You could use either hot water that just came off the boil, or you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer. You want to heat up the ebonite, and it will become soft and pliable. And then once you've got it soft, you can use, you want to press the feed against the nib, like this, and hold it there. And while the nib cools down, it will form to the shape of the nib. Now I'm using my bare hands here as a demonstration, but normally this would be hot, and you would want to use like a paper towel or something and press those together to protect your hands. But the idea is you want to form the feed to the nib. Every single time you take this out, when you put it in, you should heat set it again. So once you've got a setup that's working well for you, you should not remove the nib and the feed unless you have a good reason to. For example, you need to really clean out the ink, or a new ink that you're using isn't working very well and you need to start over. But once you've got it working, you should leave it the way it is. So this is the La Couleur Royale. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. It does not flex very well. It doesn't flow very well. I've had some pretty good luck with Apache Sunset. That's a great shading ink that I like to use in flex pens, and it's normally what I have in this pen. But this time I was just trying something new, and I might be going back to Apache Sunset. So anyway, this is the Nib Creeper, and I'm glad you liked it. Check out pentuner.com when you can, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.